As we're going over testimonies, I wanted to share a little bit about my own before I go into the message, just so you guys know a little bit more about me and how it relates to the message. But I come from a family of immigrants to America. I grew up in a very Christian household. However, I did not know the Lord, and I rejected the Lord until I went to college about 3 years ago. And when I was at university, I was going through a lot. I almost killed myself 2 times. I've almost died several other times. I dove into drugs and drinking and partying and all this other stuff. And it leads to nothing but emptiness. And I just found myself hurting and being in a lot of pain all the time. How can I just be happy with this one substance that will make me feel better in the moment? And then as soon as I was sober again, I was tired and I wanted to do it again just so I could laugh and have fun. And it's a terrible, terrible time. I came into ORU with the doctors looking me in the eyes saying that there's something wrong with my blood and they don't know if it's going to be fatal or not. They don't know if I'm going to make it out alive, but we serve a very good God. And I'm very thankful because I got saved at ORU and I had every chain broken off of me. I now declare my life to the Lord that He is so worthy. He is so worth it. He's called me righteous. He's called you guys righteous. I walked back into the doctor's office and I've taken more tests. I was in and out of the cancer hospital for 3 to 4 months. And they said, we don't know what happened to you, but we know that nothing's wrong anymore. And we don't know how, but you don't need to come back here anymore. You don't need to come and continue to take tests. We don't know what happened. If you feel like something's wrong, you can come back, but you don't need to anymore because we serve a God that's loving. We serve a God that cares for His children, and He genuinely wants to do good. And so now I'm so grateful that I get to stand here and come to South Africa and visit the nations and truly try and bring Christ to the nations. And yeah, I'm just so thankful to be here, guys. It's a very, very humbling moment. And as I was thinking about this word, I'm a big science guy. I have a finance degree, but I have a pre-dental concentration in the States, which just means that I take a lot of biology classes. It doesn't mean too much. But my amazing biology professor, he's stewarded me and he's guided me in a way that I can know the Lord within the sciences. In America, at least, the sciences are used a lot to disprove God and to go away from the Lord. However, he uses science to prove that the Lord exists and to see the invisible God inside the invisible creation. So when you dive deeper into it, Romans 1:20 states, "For His invisible attributes, namely His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived, ever since the creation of the world and the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." We serve an invisible God that we cannot see, but there's parts of us that are invisible to the eye that just prove God's faithfulness and His love, and part of that is the neuron. Now, if we could show the picture of the neuron, it looks pretty wicked and pretty crazy, and it is. And you have 100 billion of these throughout your entire body. Each one making 10,000 connections with other neurons within your brain. So they go throughout your entire body, and they're longer in other parts, but as soon as they get to your brain, they're very short. They're used to transmit or send electrical signals across your body. It's used to send messages. And for some reason, none of them connect. None of them touch. They get very, very, very close. However, none of them actually connect, and man has called it a flawed feature within the human race and within just living creatures in general. And we've seen that because they don't touch, a lot of it has led to Alzheimer's and dementia among the older population because they grow weak and signals tend to die as people age. And they're very, very energy intensive. So it takes a lot of electricity to travel the message from one to the next. And scientists never really understood this, and we used to think that each one of these, how do I say this? Each one of these takes the message, and it takes a lot of electricity. However, every single thought that we've had and every single action that we've done has been programmed and wired through these. And so if you were actually able to go back and make a map of every single neuron in your brain, you could see a biological map of your entire past. Every single thought you've done, every single action you've made, it's all wired into your body, and it becomes more solid as we age. And so the actions that we do become harder to break as we grow older. And scientists used to think that the habits that we've created are solidified by the time we're in our late 20s. And so some amazing, really, really cool researchers did this study on people that were older than their late 20s. And they actually just gathered a whole bunch of them into a room while they hooked them up and monitored their brain. And they found that when people spoke about their past and their hurt, the people's brains lit up like a Christmas tree. And they didn't understand why. Because before we thought that their brains, the habits ended. But now, when they're in their 30s and 40s and 50s, they're still learning. They're just listening and they're learning. They're making new habits and shaping new thoughts, whereas before we didn't think that was possible. And so we have to understand how powerful our words are. Their testimonies were changing not just their own lives and reflecting on the past, but it's affecting others through this. And that's why Revelation says, "Do not forsake our brethren, for they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. For they have loved not their lives even unto death." It's our testimony that can change other people's lives. And it's just through listening and through brotherhood and friendships that our lives can be changed as well. Our words hold so much power, and that's why Proverbs 18:11 says that there is death and life in the power of the tongue. But it gets better, because could you go back to the photo of the neuron? You'll see these little squares out here to the side. There's gaps between each neuron. And like I said before, they don't connect. But why is there a gap? Why did the Lord create us to have a gap within our system? Why have it so people can go to the ends of their lives and forget their friends and family and who they are and how to breathe until they die? Why does that exist? Why would a loving God create such a flawed system in our body? But if you start to dive deeper into the Bible, you understand that it's not flawed, that it was created with a purpose, that each one of these gaps, it was designed because if they were connected, nothing would ever change. So it's as if we were to take a wire right here and we were to chop it up into little pieces and then stick them all really, really close together. Why would you do that? Why would you put a wire and just expect the electricity to continue to pass through it? It doesn't work. However, when we look at the gaps and we ask the Lord, why did you create gaps? It's because we can change. The Lord didn't create us to stay stagnant in our ways. He didn't create us to stay the same throughout our entire life. He created us so that we can change. Because we have a loving Father, and He knows that we live in a broken world, in a hurting world, in a fallen world. And so there's bad things that happen to good people, and even good people that do bad things. Sometimes we don't choose the right path. Sometimes we walk a lonely road and we reject the Lord. We pick up bad habits, myself, with my own testimony. I picked up a lot of bad habits. But I'm so thankful for the Lord that He's created us in a way that I can change. And you can't change your past. You can't change what has been done to you, but you can change your future because the Lord our God has designed us to be able to change. He has designed us so that these neurons can fix and change our habits, that we don't have to be solidified in our old past, but we can make a difference in the future. That's why Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." It's in the Bible that states the renewal of our mind. This is not by accident. He declared thousands of years ago that I have designed you in a way that you will not stay the same, that we are born again, that we are created as a new creature because we can form new habits and form new actions and do new things. We serve a loving God, and it's shown. The invisible creation shows the invisible God.